Coming up on your right hand side, you'll see a red and white stripe building. We call that the Streaky Bacon building here, but it's actually the original home of the White Star shipping line. They were the fellas responsible for that ship in 1912, you know, the Titanic. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it before, like the ship to sink at the end of it. But about 80% of the crew was registered from and lived in Liverpool, so you can imagine what that doorway must have looked like, with all the mums and dads banging on demanding news. About 6 weeks later, little scrappy bits of notepaper were thrown down that just said no news yet. And 2 weeks after that, all the families were invoiced for the cost of the uniforms of the crew that had died on board. No one paid a penny, but it's cheaper at the ass, and no two families were invoiced the same amount as well. They took into account what size your shirt and pants were, whether they gave you shoes, belts and jackets, and each individual brass put on that jacket, as poor lads say. Go to 1907. The original name of this building was the Mersey Docks and Harbour Wharf, but it has since changed as a Liverpool function centre. The bottom floor of this building is now just a wet shop, so it has changed quite a bit. Going up to that big dome on top of the building, that dome wasn't in the original architectural designs for this building. It was actually taken off an unused design of St Paul's Chapel and just thrown right on top of there. Scousers and Robin, whatever you like. But you know, we put that on top of there just to make the building look a lot more grand and centralised, because this would have been the first building for all your sailors, seafarers, dockers and boarders would have seen us taken into the city. This was also one of the original design pieces for the Anglican Cathedral, which is why it looks so lovely. Doesn't really explain why it's next to the worst building I've ever seen, this big black obelisk. Looks a bit like Darth Vader's holiday home really, but you know, built that funny shape because in conjunction with the two buildings next to it, it's meant to look like a cruise ship actually up across from the middle. And there's the